Okay, so today we're going to talk about that moment when the hero of a story fails. Because there is this moment in the movie Elizabethtown that I just love. If you've seen it, you may remember the moment when Kirsten Dunst says to Orlando Bloom that, yes, okay, you failed, and so what? Just get up and get moving and go in the right direction again. And this is such a moment for me right now because I failed. Carbs kicked my behind so badly. Now it's Wednesday today, and it should have been, let's say it should have been day 17 of my health journey. And it still is, because we are not resetting the clock, but it should also have been day 17 of my keto journey. And let's just be honest for a moment and say that it's really not. Because what happened is that on Saturday, so 4 days ago, I had an experience, which is best described as an experience with a keto, like with gateway carb is what I mean. And the thing is that people always talk about doing things in moderation, and I am not for doing anything in moderation. I'm an either-or person. I'm a cold turkey person. I've always been like that once I wanted to stop a habit. But I do think that there is a place for moderation, and I deluded myself into thinking I could eat a little bit of this carb. And it's not that I don't eat carbs at all, but I thought I can eat a little bit of this carb, and it was potatoes. And I'm declaring potatoes public enemy number one in this household, at least for me. But I ate a teeny tiny bit of potatoes on Saturday night, and they tasted amazing. And then comes Sunday. And on Sunday, I had a huge craving for carbs. How did that happen? Of course, it happened because I was eating a teeny tiny amount of potatoes on Saturday night. So afternoon arrives on Sunday, and I think to myself, I could eat a roll or a bun or whatever you want to call it, depending on where you're from. I could eat a roll with Nutella. Why did I think that? I don't know. And I wasn't even weighing, I wasn't measuring anything. I was just like, this is an isolated incident. I can eat a bun, a roll with Nutella. And what then happened was, when we were about to have dinner, my husband asked me, what are you going to eat for dinner? And I was like, I can't really be bothered. I'm just going to eat what everybody else is having. And what was everybody else having? They were having sandwiches. They were having club sandwiches. And I'm like, yeah, I've already eaten a roll, a bun today, so I will just have a sandwich for dinner. A monumental mistake. Such a bad decision. And I go to sleep on Sunday, I wake up on Monday, and immediately I have a migraine. I wake up on Monday with a migraine, and it's like this moment in the hero's journey where there is this first real resistance, and the hero has a really hard time. And at the same time, it would not be a movie if they don't continue. And obviously, I am going to continue on the keto journey as well. But what strikes me is this, that apparently we just have to have these setbacks. We have to have these moments of self-sabotage where we think, oh, but I could cheat. Oh, but I could make an exception. Oh, but I could eat a little bit of this, or I could do a little bit of that, whatever it is. And usually it's the worst idea in the world. I don't know who said this. Maybe it was Gary Brecka who said this, that that sugar is to be considered a recreational drug. And to me, it's not even that much about the sugar, because as I explained in my last video, I have even had a little bit of sugar, and we're talking grams, like under 5 or 10 grams a day during the first 2 weeks of my keto diet. And that did not throw me off. And then I looked it up, and then I looked at the glycemic load of cornstarch and corn flour, because in our household most people are gluten-free. So when we bake, we usually bake with a mixture of corn flour and some amount of cornstarch, which is just, it has a terrible glycemic load. It is like, it almost breaks the scale. It is so much higher than sugar. I don't remember the numbers right now, but it's like so much higher than sugar. So I think that it would be better for my migraines literally to eat straight up sugar than to eat any amount of corn flour or cornstarch. And I also think that potatoes were actually higher, but look that up. I'm not making any judgments on that right now because I can't remember. So I'm so organized. But what I wanted to revert back to also from the first video is that idea of insulin resistance in the brain. And I think I needed this setback on my keto journey to really experience how bad high glycemic index carbs are for me. Because according to this insulin resistance in the brain model, when you become insulin resistant in the brain, then you do not get energy. You do not get energy if the glycemic load, if the glycemic index of something you eat is too high. And when that happens, then you could eat as much as you want, you would still not really be feeding your brain cells. And that is a bad place to be, because then the brain cells are literally starving. And then you have this deficit of ATP, adenosine triphosphate, in the brain, which is this life energy. And then the body will give you a migraine. The brain will signal to you, you are having a migraine, you need to relax, there is no life energy to be spent on anything at all. And that's not a lot of fun. So I've really been discussing this with myself, because I was gearing up to we're going on a vacation in a couple of weeks, and I was like, am I going to be really strict keto on this vacation? Like, we can cook our own food. We are like living in a house with a kitchen during that vacation. We can cook our own food, no problem. But it's still something more that we have to do. And it's still more complicated to cook in 2 different ways. Like, people usually laugh at me that whenever we have pasta in this household, we cook not just gluten-loaded pasta, we also cook gluten-free pasta. And then whenever I would eat any pasta, then we also cook lentil pasta. So it's like complete mayhem over here. It's insane. But it's just like, it's so complicated to do this on vacation. And I was like, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? I'm definitely going to do it, because I do not want to spend any time on vacation having a migraine. I literally still today, on Wednesday, woke up on Monday, had the migraine. On Tuesday, had the migraine. I have a slight migraine, have had it. It's not really bad right now, but I have had a slight migraine today as well. I do not want to spend any more of my life having a migraine. I do not want to do it. It's, my God, the amount of time I've spent in my life having a migraine. If you have migraines, please, please, please try this. please, please, please try this, because it might just change your life. I know for a fact that I am going so much back on that horse. It was so difficult for me to eat keto on Monday, and I didn't do it entirely. I had huge cravings for carbs, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. And then I was like, but I'm not going to kill myself. The problem for me is that at the moment I have a migraine. It is also associated with carb cravings for me, and I think that is because the brain is trying to get that fast energy when the ATP level, the energy level in the brain, is too low. And it's the worst remedy ever. So what I should have done was just to get back on the horse and have a terrible, horrible day on Monday, just go straight keto while having migraine, instead of like dipping my toe into keto and dipping my toe into carbs and trying to balance, being queasy and not feeling well. I should have just done the cold turkey thing that I just advertised. I'm such a cold turkey person, and the migraines just tear a bit at my determination. And I just want to say to you that if you are considering keto, if you have any kind of condition where people say that keto might help, I think, I think that it might basically help anyone, because there are so few people who are metabolically healthy. And I think that there is a lot of metabolic health to be gained from a keto diet. So another thing that I'm going to talk more about in some of the next videos, I just want to touch on it really quickly, is that the health journey for me is not just about doing keto. It's also about being healthy in other ways. So it's about exercise, but it's also about resting. And I am horrible at resting because I feel like I can never truly relax. I have anxiety, and I have a level of body consciousness where it is so evident for me that when I try to relax, then it's just not always possible. And I think that the nervous system states that we practice, they become ingrained and they become a default standard that our nervous system tries to replicate all the time, which is why I am so determined to also get my nervous system into a rest and digest state. And the way that I usually do that is by doing breath work, and not just like formal breath work sessions throughout the day, but also to just remind myself that I have to breathe with a certain quality a lot of times throughout the day. So not just doing breath work in the morning or in the evening or both, but in reality being aware of my breath numerous times every day. And then I also do yoga nidra, and I've been doing that for more than 20 years. And for me, that is a lifesaver. It is one of the few times in a day or week, depending on how often I do it, that I actually feel that I get into a truly relaxed state, but it can take a long time. So if you're not familiar with yoga nidra, I would say it is amazing. If you have that experience of being very wired, if you maybe have anxiety, it is gold for your nervous system to get into another state and start relaxing. And that also influences your metabolic health. So doing keto in isolation from other things it might be really beneficial, but it will not bring you into that state of super duper awesome health. So I would encourage you to explore many different ways to pursue health. So until the next update, have a nice time and be healthy.